Hey, everybody. I hope you're all doing well today. Well, I wanted to start off by saying RIP to the actor James Caan, who I knew best from the movie Misery, one of my favorite films. I always loved this movie, primarily, to be honest, for Kathy Bates' incredible turn as the deranged Annie Wilkes, crazy fangirl sort of story. But James Caan was like the perfect counterbalance to her in that role. He played the role with a lot of like sarcasm and morbid humor that I don't really know comes across as much in the book. So he definitely made the character his own. I'm a bit ashamed to say that I also liked him as the disgruntled father in the movie Elf. Now, I do want to be clear. I despise the movie Elf, and I'm not a big fan of Will Ferrell. I don't hate Will Ferrell, but it's very rare that I actually see like a Will Ferrell movie that I'm like, yeah, this is good. In fact, I can't even think of one. But I guess I like him in small doses, okay. But as a starring sort of thing with a whole comedic premise built around him, basically intolerable to me. But James Caan kind of took me by the hand and led me through that movie and helped me to tolerate it. He was the only element of that film that did connect with me. He was like the golden strand woven through the cat turd. A lot of people will also remember him, of course, as Sonny from The Godfather. The appeal of those movies seems to be lost on me for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm just a bad person. Never really resonated with The Godfather. I watched it once, couldn't tell you a goddamn thing about it. It just didn't leave an impression on me. I know, I'm horrible. Sorry. Jeez. What else happened? I had a little fun with Tim Pool on Twitter. We had a little exchange of ideas, in the open marketplace thereof, leading up to my upcoming appearance on his show, which I've talked to him and explained that I'm in the process of trying to find a house and move right now. And once I've done that, we can sort of get more serious about setting up that date. When my schedule settles down a little bit. Because right now, all of my free time is going towards looking for a house, trying to figure out that kind of logistical nightmare. But he's been very accommodating on that front, to his credit. Very nice guy in terms of that. I want to thank you guys for your patience on that as well. So Tim Pool was responding to some random-ass tweet by Joe Walsh. Not sure who that is. Walsh Freedom, whatever the hell. I don't care. He says, these people are grifters, right? Tim says that. I'm like, are you looking into a mirror? And he says, no, it's a portrait of you. And at this point, I just became deeply flattered, of course, because Tim Pool apparently has a portrait of me in his house, and which is, to me, is a credit to his taste. I mean, I'm liking the guy more and more all the time. Now that I know that he's got that portrait hanging up over his bed, on the opposite wall, obviously, where he can see it as he, watching over him as he goes to sleep at night. That's a beautiful thing. I mean, obviously, there's something there between us. I feel good about it, Like, I feel like when we finally do sit down to have our discussion, there's going to be, a little bit of sexual tension in the air, hopefully we can, it'll hopefully translate into, a more dynamic, interesting appearance, maybe we'll make out, who knows, maybe Tim Pool and I'll start dating. I mean, it's not beyond the realm of possibility, right? I mean, I don't know exactly, how strong his feelings are, but if he's at the level where he's got portraits of me hanging up in his house, then obviously, he's spanking that monkey pretty regular, Or maybe it's a deeper, maybe I'm cheapening it, Maybe it's not so much this gaudy sexual thing. Maybe it's just, a strong sense of admiration. Like, TJ, you are like my guiding star, I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to explore that a little bit when we sit down together. So what else happened? Some asshole blew up the Georgia Guidestones, most likely because Republicans had taken to calling them satanic lately. Now it's very likely the Georgia Guidestones were put up by a white supremacist douchebag who, but I kind of liked them anyway, to be honest with you. I thought I'd take a moment to just go over everything that was imprinted on them, because there was, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Georgia Guidestones, but basically It's a series of giant monolithic tablets that have inscribed on them rules for humanity. And I think they were kind of intended, they were put up during the Cold War. I think they were kind of intended to be like, if we destroy ourselves in nuclear fire, these will survive, and then you know, people will find them and read them and be like, ah, this is the way, you know, which is pretty far-fetched, but hey, I think that was the thought behind it. So anyway, here's the 10 commandments written on the Georgia Guidestones. Number 1, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Now, I don't know if 500 million is the golden number. I don't know what, but I do agree with population control. I do agree that we should not just allow humanity to just breed and breed and breed and spread and spread and spread. I think that the idea that that this is something that should be, you know, desired or looked upon as a good thing is completely faulty as a premise. Now, I get fucking flack from this from both sides. You know, I feel like everybody always thinks that they're the ones being targeted for elimination. You know, you tell this to a leftist, they automatically assume that you want to, like, oh, you just want to cleanse the world of POCs. You tell this to a white supremacist, they automatically assume, oh, you're just trying to cleanse the world of white people. It's like, no, it's not a freaking racial thing, okay? We can keep the exact same proportions of every race. We just need less people overall, because this is too much. We're putting too much strain on this planet, the ecology of it, all that, you know. And I don't care. I don't want to hear this stuff about, well, we could technically feed this many, and there's this much space. Yeah, we still live on a planet of finite resources, and we'd have a hell of a lot easier of a time sustaining ourselves if there was less of us. The real reason that we want to just grow and grow and grow in perpetuity is because we have a growth-based economy. We need to get away from that, in my opinion. Number 2, guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. You know, I don't. You know, when you have a monument built by a white supremacist that says guide reproduction wisely, it hits a little weird. But that being set aside, I don't know. Yeah, I do think that there should be some standards there. I don't think that I think we take the creation of new human lives far too lightly in our current paradigm, and I think we could afford to take it a little bit more seriously. Now, does that mean outright barring people from reproduction? I don't think so. What I think it does, though, is maybe we just kind of like change the discussion around it. I think that would be a great start anyway. Just let's have a different idea. Like we don't need to venerate this. You know, it's no longer, we don't need more people at this time. So maybe stop venerating motherhood, venerating fatherhood, venerating the idea that, oh, you know, my life truly came into focus once I looked down upon the eyes of that little baby. You know, that's got to go. I think we could, you know, at least have some counterbalance to that narrative, right? We need to start voicing the more stodgy, misanthropic point of view a little bit more, in my opinion. Unite humanity with a living new language. I think that's a great idea. I think that having all of these disparate languages that are a barrier to communication is a problem for humanity. So yeah, why not? Unite us under a single language. Makes sense to me. Maybe we can go back to Latin. Maybe we could just, you know, look at whatever language is the most popular language, whether it be English, Chinese, whatever. We can all learn that. You know, there should be some sort of common tongue. Even if you're not going to totally do away with your native language, we should at least have some sort of common second language that all human beings across the globe can communicate in. Rule, passion, faith, tradition, and all things tempered with reason. I think that's fine. Tempering everything with reason, I don't see how anyone could possibly object. If anything, it's just a little vague. But you know, if you're just using this as a general guideline, which I would imagine, guidestones, guidelines, yeah, I think it's a good thing to say, like, don't throw reason out just because your passions are high or you got faith or tradition is important to you. That doesn't mean, yeah, reason should supersede all of those things. I agree with that general sentiment. Number 5, protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. I feel like that's a no-brainer. Obviously, we would all agree with that. We don't all agree, though, on the definition of fair. We don't all agree with the definition of just. So there's where the problems come in. The devil is not in the Guidestones. The devil is in the details. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. So basically, we still have nation states, but they all, succumb to this higher court to mitigate disputes between them. I don't like that idea. I think just get rid of the idea of nation states. Just erase all the borders and let's live as one. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. I don't think anyone could possibly object to that. I guess there are people out there who love making petty laws. But yeah, I agree. No more petty laws. The laws should serve a more important set of functions. I think we can actually get into that a little bit later. Balance personal rights with social duties. I think also a very important thing. We see that humanity has always seemed to oscillate between the collectivist mindset, the individualist mindset, back and forth and back and forth. And, we have struggled to find that balance, but I think that balance would be advantageous to us for sure. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. This to me kind of rings a little bit woo-woo, just like, all right, yeah. I mean, I guess it's fine. There's nothing wrong. Like truth, yeah, great. Beauty, sure. Love, sounds great. But, these things, I mean, I think people already like those things. Most people, if you ask them their opinion, like if you did an opinion poll, I'm pretty sure truth, beauty, and love are going to rate pretty high in the stuff people like. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. I agree with that. I don't even have anything to add to it. I think that's perfect as it is. So, what else is going on? I watched a Vaush video called "Our Democracy May Only Have Months Left," about how the Supreme Court is going to rule in a few months that state legislatures have the absolute power to control elections in their state, which would give Republicans the power to steal elections in perpetuity, no matter how the people of this country vote, effectively rendering America a one-party state. Unfortunately, I think we've already been a one-party state for some time. I'm not here to tell you that there's no difference between the parties, because I think that's an overstatement of the case. But I will tell you that I think that the differences are largely superficial. I think that in terms of economic policy, in terms of energy policy, in terms of foreign policy, in terms of immigration policy, these parties have differences that amount to very little. Very virtue signally, very tiny little points of contention. The only area where they truly distinguish themselves from one another would be in domestic social policy. One party is pro-abortion, one party is anti-abortion, one party is anti-LGBT, the other is pro-LGBT. But even on those issues, there are, of course, exceptions. So this guy right here is the governor of Louisiana, my home state, John Bel Edwards. He's supposedly a Democrat, and yet he is staunchly pro-life. He recently signed a very draconian anti-abortion measure into law in our state, even though he says that he wishes, get this, he wishes there were exceptions for rape and incest in the law. I mean, like, you wish? Aren't you the fucking governor? You didn't have to sign it if you didn't agree with it. But, of course, he did have to sign it, because if he had gone to bat for those exceptions to be included, he would have just been replaced. It would have been political suicide. They would have just replaced him with someone who would play ball with their crazy, far right-wing, anti-freedom legislation. So I have to disagree with Vaush a little. Democracy cannot only have months left to live, because it already died a long time ago, if it ever existed at all. Do you want to know what I would advocate as your king? Do you want to know what I would advocate? I'll tell you. I would advocate that we don't vest power in the federal government or in the states. I say that we vest power in you, in the individual. I say that the individual rights have to be the highest good in any sort of successful society. And the person who has the most say in your own life should be you. The only legitimate function of state powers, in my opinion, is to protect your individual rights. So if someone tries to kill you, the state should intervene. If someone tries to steal from you, the state should intervene. If someone tries to sexually assault you, the state should intervene. If you try to do those things to someone else, the state should stop you. Beyond that, I think the state should leave you alone. This doesn't mean no taxation or anything like that. It doesn't mean no permits or no regulations. That would be the libertarian's fallacy. As far as social safety nets go, I believe in keeping them strong because I believe that no one can truly be free if they are driven to desperation by starvation or by homelessness. I believe that every person on this earth should be fed and clothed and sheltered. If they're not, then I would consider that a failure of leadership. Because if you're a leader and your people are dressed in rags and begging for food, then you're not much of a leader. I think you should be deposed at least. You should probably be hanged, in my opinion, because that's not leadership. That is exploitation. Now, I do want to get more into this kind of stuff a little bit later on, but I think that's a good sort of warm-up for the general ideas that I want to foist upon you guys. So that's all I have to say for you today. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you get strong, stay strong, arm yourselves, love yourselves. I'm TJ Kirk. Peace.